All right, here are some of my favorites that went around to family, friends, and clients from the week of July 19th through July 25th. This was a kind of a really good time. I'm getting back from having my back being out, so it's in a decent mood that I got out a bunch. But found some fun photos. Start with a couple from La Jolla of the sea lion pups. You know, you got this guy barking at his sleeping buddy that he wants to wrestle around in the water more. I got a kick out of that one. This one I thought was relaxing. This one will end up on the site, I'm pretty sure. Also, if something's not on the site and you want it, let me know. I print right here, so I can do kind of whatever. This was a fun one. So this day, not to bitch about awesome days, but this was an awesome day. I really liked this shot. I liked how it crosses the horizon here. I like the water trail. I like how it's connected all the way down to the surface. But this particular day, I was out on a small boat with two wannabe influencers, or I don't know, maybe they're real influencers. I don't pay attention to any of that. But these two girls and the old man who was with them, whoever it was, they just whined about, this, that, and the other. Ended up getting super violently seasick. They didn't take the captain's advice or anything like that. Demanded that we go back. We're literally sitting here with this whale. And that happens. Okay, so, I get it. But what was the kick in the balls, as far as I was concerned, was watching them try to get their footage in between violently throwing up overboard and still doing the little face thing and the head rock. It's too much for me. It's too much. I can't do it. So usually if there's anybody like that on board, I'm off. But yeah. So this was another look at the humpback that we had to leave, because these girls were just not having, this rolling over these small rollers here, sitting still in the water. Not that I'm annoyed by it. I liked this shot. Here it is surfacing. You can see a little bit of its exhale. Anytime I can get the rostrum, I'm excited. I like the tubercles. I like how you can see the lower jaw here with it's unique. I think those are probably scars from the word's gonna elude me at the moment, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot. I feel like an idiot. Barnacles. Didn't elude me that long. Another look at that surfacing humpback. Couple looks from La Jolla. There's a big boy right there. Here's one of the pups flinging around a piece of seaweed. They're pretty playful. They're just like any other animal. This was another day on a little boat. Again, super calm. We got a nice little window in between the windy, choppy days. This one, not my ultimate favorite, but what I liked about this shot, the reason I sent it around, is there's a lot of the markings here. So these guys discipline each other or show dominance by raking their teeth across each other. So these are all rake marks from other dolphins. You can see they're pretty consistently sized. Their teeth are pretty close together. So this one, one of the naturalists is always saying the more you see, they were either naughty or trying to be in charge. So it's kind of funny. Another example of how good it had been out this week. No wind, really not a lot of swell. Just kind of that Mercury-esque water effect. Another humpback on a nice day. There had been a couple hurricanes down south. Pardon me, apparently I'm going to cough for the rest of my life. But a couple hurricanes down south, so they brought up some birds. And this one is a Nazca booby. And I've seen these a couple times, but it's definitely not a frequent bird for me. And then this was actually my very first. Oh no, it's a humpback tail. I've seen those. This one was my very first albatross. This is a black-footed albatross, and they're unique. They have these super long, slender wings. They actually have kind of a double hinge here on the wings, and they can fly for something like 1,000 miles a day. And they lock their shoulders in, so it doesn't take them a whole lot of effort to use the wind. Kind of just cool to see. I'd never seen one. It'd been kind of on the list. Actually saw it later in the week too. Hummingbird down in La Jolla. You can sort of see right down where it's feeding. Not the most brilliant shot, but I liked it for that aspect. Little seagull chicks. Man, these guys are pretty cute when they're this small, and they get big quick. So this is a pair that's kind of later than all the other ones. All the other ones are sort of already almost their parents' size, but they're different colored. They're a darker gray, but you can see them like trying to start to learn to fly and whatever. But it's pretty amazing how fast they go from this little chick stage up to a relatively full-size, animal. Another look at the two chicks that are kind of late to the game. I hadn't been down to Children's Pool in a bit. When they open it up for the summer, a lot of times these guys are flushed off by the crowds or whatever. But I got there on a day that was frankly, it was kind of gross. And so the beach crowds hadn't shown up yet, so there was still a bunch of harbor seals around. So, liked that this one was making eye contact. Got a kick out of this one. I'm not exactly sure what it's foaming off of its mouth. If it's just, drool or whatever, or if there's something else. I didn't notice that when I was there. I noticed it when I got home. Also, you can see the claws. Harbor seals have claws, sea lions don't, but you can see them right here in the flipper. This shot seemed relaxing. Kind of all of them palled out, just chilling on the sand at Children's Pool. Similar thing with this one. I think this is actually probably the stronger photo for that, just because it's something about the alignment of the subject harbor seal. You can read more maybe into the face and the feet and the relaxed back and neck. This was just a little guy, but rolled right past him. I got a kick out of this shot. Now, definitely not a fine art shot by any stretch, but it shows two things. First, it shows some of these tagged sea lions, so you can see this is W7835 on top of everybody, and then this one, I forget what number it is. I zoomed it in and I sent it to the group that tracks them. So they get these numbers when they've been interacted with or had to be saved from something. Sometimes they get them when they're born, but I don't hear about a lot of those. I think it's more of a Channel Islands thing. So I send those out, and I get stories back from them because they track where they're at. Kind of. They like to have the picture of the full body so they can see. Okay, is it holding weight, or did X, Y, or Z wound heal? So it's fun to kind of, even on mornings when there's not a lot of light and there's not a lot of chance of getting that super fine art thing. I feel like I'm doing something helpful. The second thing that this illustrates is the absolute lack of personal space that you can expect as a sea lion. So I got a kick out of that, that walking across the entire pile of sea lions rather than going around in any of the openings. So if you come back as a sea lion, you can expect that. Another example of kind of the same thing. This one will definitely end up on the site. I think I'll title it Motherhood, where every mom has been this tired, where the kid standing on your head is the least of your concerns right then. I got a kick out of it, and I think most of the moms that I sent it to, I got little smiley faces back on this one or whatever. The little guys barking at each other, kind of practicing swimming. This one I thought was a strong photo, composition-wise. The weight of the water, you know, even though it's a bright color, it definitely is heavy. It's definitely, you know, in motion, coming at the rocks, coming at this sea lion who's getting ready to duck underneath it the best they can. Where I lucked into a little bit too is this diagonal whitewash line, and then the spray that kind of ties into the subject here. If you want to say the subject's the sea lion, or if you want to say the subject's the wave, kind of either way they tie in, which is a nice little effect. Wish I could say I did it 100% on purpose, but it's just shooting at a high frame rate. Cormorant drying itself off. Another real calm day. I liked this one. Super smooth out there. You can see there's no wind yet disturbing the water surface. The bottlenose dolphin here, you know, not a lot of details on that. Not a lot of details on that, but you can see the details here on the small little wave. Now, the reason that this is different than a lot of the shots that I have where it's, you know, this explosion of water off the flanks, is these guys were just barely moving along with the boat, just traveling, doing whatever they were doing. So instead of breaking the surface, you know, with tremendous force, they were actually just sort of arcing up through the surface, creating these little wake waves. And I thought that was a different, cool look. Another same concept, just you know, this one was a little closer, but again, literally this water, it doesn't get any smoother than this, really. It's pretty mind-blowing when you're out there. And you know, this was on a little boat, so I'm actually sitting maybe 2.5, 3 feet. I had the camera down on the rail. Yeah, right there in the water. You can literally drop your hand into the water. And these guys are coming up to check us out, and we're checking them out. But that slow surfacing, you know, allows this water wave, and yeah, that water wave tying into the reflection, tying into the color. Just a peaceful shot. It's another look at the same one. I couldn't get zoomed any further out, so I lost the tip of the rostrum here. But this shadow, sorry, not shadow, the reflection, you know, it creates a whole story in and of itself. I think this was a tern. I'm not really great with birds. My phone thought it was a tern. It was relatively small, just kicking it on this big kelp patty out there by itself. This was it in flight. Another look at the black-footed albatross. We actually slowed the boat down this time. The captain and I didn't know it was an albatross the first day, but the second day we had a better idea about that for sure. So you can see it running to start to take off. Next shot is very similar. You see each paddle step, the big extension to kind of help get it up to speed. So cool to see. A lot of the birders that I know were excited for that shot, so that was cool. And then same day, nobody else had found anything. I was out with the offshore Blue and Captain Alyssa, and she managed to spot I guess somebody saw a minke later that day, but she saw 2 of the 3 whales that were spotted that day first. So this was a fin whale, and this guy was kind of a little elusive, but we saw one surface with him. They're super fast, so if they want to be gone, they can absolutely be gone. You can see, you know, scarring down its sides. You can see some active, I think these are probably cookie cutter shark wounds. Don't Google cookie cutter shark unless you're willing for absolute nightmare fuel. They're terrifying looking. They're relatively small, and they're not around the beaches, but yeah, it's not a It's not a cartoon. Well, maybe it is a cartoon, but it's an evil looking cartoon animal. So anyway, that's that fin whale. I haven't heard back from anybody tracking this one yet. It looked like it had some scarring along its sides as well, not just from these circular marks. And then on the way in, Captain Alyssa managed to spot this blue whale as we were going by. So here's a look at its blowholes, some of its back. And this whale, here's a look at its dorsal and some remoras. It's also got what I assume to be a cookie cutter shark wound. So I'm not sure if those... it doesn't look super fresh, so I'm guessing that they're getting them somewhere else. I don't think they're up this way. But this whale was doing 25-minute dives, and it really wasn't exhaling all that hard, so it was pretty cool that she saw it because we were able to call it in, and then the other boats were able to kind of stay on it. And I actually got on the next boat with her, and we went back out and saw it was still doing its 25-minute dives. It did a couple double surfaces, and then I'm told as soon as we peeled off, because the other clients wanted to see some dolphins or something, when we peeled off, it did a 25-minute dive, and then it came up to the surface for 10 minutes. So the guys from San Diego Whale Watch got a great look at it. So I'm stoked for them. Also, congratulations to San Diego Whale Watch. They just got named the best whale watching in San Diego. Definitely a good crew of people worth checking out. They've got a handful of the bigger boats. They're comfortable, and they've got naturalists. It's a great time. Here's another look at the blue whale's dorsal ridge and dorsal fin. This is how they ID them. So these are actually shots that I'm really stoked to get, so I can send them in. Again, a little closer look at this wound. You can see the remoras are moving around doing their thing. I suspect those are whale sucker remoras. I'm not an expert, but I did do a little bit of looking into it. And while you can't really see much of their shape from this angle, if you look in the shadow, you kind of can, which is sort of neat. Made me feel very scientific, I guess, to look at that. And I think that might be it for this week. Yeah, so that wraps up the week of July 19th through the 25th. Hope you enjoyed this look. If you're on my website and you want any more of the details on the shutter speed, the aperture, the ISO, etc., scroll down. That's all posted, along with some notes on the day or maybe the composition, other things. If you're on a video hosting site, I do link to my own site in the notes. Jump over to my site and check out the details from this week as well as other weeks at NateCollinsPhoto.com. Anyway, I don't know how I misspit that one out, but it's on the screen, so you'll figure it out.